this has got back to school vibes. This has got bringing an ecosystem together. Is it about wanting to compare and contrast East Coast versus West Coast? What is it about the New York ecosystem that makes it different?
It's really about, it's not about compare and contrast, it's about celebrating what is here. And when we started it 8 years ago, it was out of a recognition that the broader world didn't yet grasp what was going on in the New York ecosystem. That problem got solved pretty quickly as this place has blown up from a tech perspective. And now it's about giving this ecosystem sort of one central annual gathering place that people can rely on, people can come, people can connect from both coasts. It's a thing that we hear from investors and operators on the West Coast. It is their kind of kick off the fall anchor thing that gets them out here because they now know they need to be here several times a year, both because of the tech community, but because of the real economy that's here too, right? Like the Bay Area is kind of a tech-only community, and here tech is so intermingled with all the customers of all these companies in finance and media and on and on and on.
And the diversity that automatically brings, Ben. And what's interesting is, I love how Primary puts it, sort of unreasonable resources that we have here in New York. If you could snap your fingers and ask for anything, what extra resource do you need?
I think we're bringing it together, which is when you bring all this, the infrastructure in together, whether it's the founders, the operators, the capital, the potential customers, what we're trying to do next in order to make it really work is a sense of community. You can take the players, but until the ecosystem is built and people are actually really collaborating, knowing what each other's doing, making kind of market much more efficient, you don't really gain the power of the opportunity. So that's why I think this event kind of really took off, because those stakeholders, those investors, those founders, those customers started to kind of emerge and realize like New York is a place to do business for tech and for tech startups. And then we kind of saw that at post, putting this event together, to be at the epicenter.
I mean, and New York is the place in which you put the stamp of a success of an IPO on the map as well. And we've just had one coming from Europe to want to list in America. The exit window feels open, whether it's in M&A or indeed whether it's in actually listing on public markets. How much energy does that bring to you at the smaller side, the really early founders, the companies that you're betting on from an early stage?
It's huge. We've been through this long period where, I don't think people wondered would exits ever happen again, but it had been a damn long time, and the whole ecosystem doesn't work without that. The greatest thing to fuel an entrepreneurial ecosystem is a big company successful exit that leaves a bunch of incredible operators with the resources and the skills, having been through that journey, to then take the risk and go out and start something on their own. So we need that to keep the flywheel of the ecosystem going.
People are wanting to come here and build because of the lifestyle, the diversity, the people, the customers, as you say, the pools of capital. What's interesting is we're still always waiting for that OpenAI to be built here, or that, the competitiveness with Cerebral Valley. Is that a straw man that we set up for ourselves? How much do you think there is a vying for attention when it comes to New York, or actually the size of companies that they're building?
Well, the interesting thing, you have people that are migrating to New York to build, but New York started with this incredible amount of talent density. It was always this magnet for great talent. They just were at investment banks, consulting firms, hedge funds, Bain, McKinsey. But over time, as founders were building here, success begets success. And so if you look across what's happened over the last couple of years, there are now about 200 private tech unicorns in New York City, right? If you take the next 10 markets combined, New York has more private unicorns than the next 10 markets combined. New York has now become the second most important tech market in the entire world. And so why does that happen? When you see a company like a Hugging Face or a Datadog or a MongoDB have success, the operators that are building in this community say, I can go out and do the same thing. And so that's what's really propelled it. So I would say, are we going to see the next kind of big breakout tech company? We are seeing that here. And I think that momentum is going to continue.
Mention a Hugging Face, which is at very core is generative AI. Think of how Datadog has made that pivot, improved its business model out in the public markets, being able to be an adoption of generative AI from a data lake perspective. Is there more oxygen in the room for companies that aren't generative AI at their core at the moment, Brad?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's a little harder. I mean,
Yes.
every venture investor in the country is reading the same news, watching what you guys put on the screen, and watching the incredibly rapid scaling trajectories of some of these companies. And that's the shiny object. But the reality is that we still are backing, all our friends in the ecosystem are backing companies that are solving fundamental problems for end customers that need them solved. Though, if you're not doing that in the context of thinking of how do I leverage generative AI to do that, then you probably are missing the boat. You know, AI is not, we don't think about or talk about internally, and I think most investors don't, AI anymore as a sector.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like electricity, it's like water, it's like the air we breathe at this point.
Ben, to that note, we get a lot of eyeballs because of the valuations of these companies. What does it look like at your end of the ecosystem right now of the check sizes and the kind of firepower that these businesses need?
As Brad mentioned, I mean, this is the opportunity that we kind of waited for as investors, right? Like, you look for these incredible transformative companies that can create so much economic value that, you know, when you see opportunities like that, investors go chase them. And so we're seeing rounds get bigger, valuations get bigger as well, and these rounds be super competitive. We think that's in benefit of the founders who are taking risk and wanting to build, so I think that's all healthy. Now, the big question is, you know, what will the outcomes become? At these bigger valuations, you need bigger exits, you need bigger outcomes, and our belief is that this technology transformation anchored around AI will enable these much bigger outcomes. You know, if you had asked Brad and I when we first started the business, you know, what outcomes would be now like today, we would never believe that, you know, companies in the hundreds of billions of dollars, if not trillion-dollar market caps would ever exist. And now it's persisted, and not only existed, but you know, these companies are thriving. So, so we think there's just going to be that much more momentum.